Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the International Wildcard Invitational. I'm Atlas. This is Spawn, of course. Players still getting ready to get into our next game, and this is going to be an exciting one, of course. Hard Random coming over from the CIS region against Detonation FocusMe. And we haven't really talked on the mid laners just yet. Of course, Kari there against Syros in the mid lanes. And they've got different champion pools, maybe with a little bit of crossover there, but a lot of control mages coming through from Syros, whereas a lot of assassin play, in fact, some Diana play coming through there from Kari.
Yeah, so he's able to get in there and mix it up a little bit more Syros, because he does have some control mages in there, but he plays a heck of a lot of assassins as well, I think, in the mid lane. He is the second threat that comes through from Detonation FocusMe. Kira on the other side of the rift, he plays a lot of LeBlanc, but he also plays the Ezreal, so they do play some double AD coming into that mid lane as well. So I think they are a mixed bag. I don't think you can really say one's assassin and one's control. I think that if anything, I would give the advantage a little bit to Syros coming through there, because he does get a little bit more attention than what Kira does in the mid lane.
Yeah, and of course Azir has been going off as well. That is one of his champions that he manages to mix up in there. But we are going to go over and have a look at Hard Random. We do have a video for you, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get that one going right away.
It's kind of great feeling when you can just travel to another country, another language, another situation. It's good to travel, so it's really good. I like it.
We have a really good communication. We have we are friendly with each other, so we have a lot of success with this roster. So I think it's gonna be, at least for now, it's ideal roster for Hard Random.
Соревноваться за границей, безусловно, это что-то, нечто другое по сравнению со своим собственным регионом, потому что игроки с других регионов, ты абсолютно не знаешь, как они будут играть и что будут из себя представлять, и это новый уровень для СНГ игроков. Это очень большой опыт, как для меня, так и для команды в целом, и надеюсь, мы можем очень хорошо показать себя.
The strongest opponent would be every team. Everyone playing different, everyone playing good. That's why they're champions of their region. So I think.
Ну, мы сюда приехали, естественно, только за первым местом, потому что зачем ехать, если ты не хочешь побеждать, если ты уверен, что ты проиграешь, зачем тогда участвовать вообще в соревнованиях. Прогнозы всех наших знакомых, аналитиков и тому подобное, что мы займем не выше 4-го места, но я думаю, что мы разубедим их в этом, покажем хорошую игру. В этом турнире мы больше всего боимся, наверное, турков, потому что у них очень сильный регион, мы очень часто их встречаем на европейском сервере, довольно часто против них играем. В командной игре в тимранкеды попадались против несколько, плюс у них будет преимущество на своей, так сказать, территории. Еще мы немножко боимся бразильцев, потому что у них тоже там.
Наша сцена специфична, и каждый игрок считает себя хорошим в отдельности от команды. Сейчас у нас нет такой проблемы, и мы держимся друг за друга, и думаю, мы сможем повторить успех.
We always want to win. Still, we don't think that we are better than any other team. Just when you came to the tournament, you want to win. What is the reason that you came here?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And Hard Random there with a lot of respect to everyone else coming through into the International Wildcard Invitational. And bit of a nothing to lose atmosphere there.
Yeah, it certainly looked like that was their attitude coming into this, and I think there is some benefit to recognizing you're an underdog team, throwing caution to the wind and playing your style of League of Legends. The thing that interests me about both those videos now is that everyone is hyping up Turkey. All of a sudden, Turkey's got a big target on their back.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't got to see them play yet, but Inta's got to have got hold of these videos somewhere. Of course, that's a Brazilian team, and being like, what the heck happened to us? We were supposed to be the hype team coming in, and now Turkey's stealing all the fame. So,
hey, man, we might have been living under a rock. We may not actually understand quite how powerful this lineup actually is.
Yeah, apparently coming through. So Turkey, the home team, getting a lot of love. But back to Hard Random. the individualist approach, and we kind of saw that coming through from the Japanese video as well, saying that they play very individualized around their AD carry, really try and bring that up. They've gone towards the opposite. They've gone to completely, we are a team, we have to play as a unit. So I want to see how quickly they have adjusted as a team to the 5.7 meta, because I feel that out of all the metas we've had so far in League of Legends, this is the most heavy team play meta.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. So we'll see whether that actually does benefit Hard Ran and whether they can pick up a first victory. And when they're coming through with such a sort of, we don't actually really mind what's going on, if they manage to pick up momentum at this stage, it can really have a flow-on effect.
Yeah, it certainly can. Being a team that really is here to just experience the tournament, pick up wins when they can, and then try and charge through with some victories is just going to mean that if that snowball starts rolling for Hard Ran, and watch out, because teams can do some crazy things in League of Legends, and I want to see how it works out.
Yeah, I'm having like Mineski flying around my head now just a little bit. But ladies and gentlemen, remember, you need to hop over to Twitter. Use that hashtag IWCI and let us know exactly what you're doing, how you're enjoying the games, and let us know exactly what you think is going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So, and tell us how you're watching the games as well. Throw out to that hashtag how you're watching, send us a picture, get us involved. But I'm really interested to see what your guys' thoughts are on this game. Of course, Japan, it's been hyped up. Detonation FocusMe are an absolute huge threat coming into this tournament. Probably expectations a little bit higher than even the players thought they would be. And as you saw from the CIS team, Hard Random, they're just here to experience the tournament. They want to pick up wins where they can. That's what they said. Of course, everyone comes to win. We're playing as a team. We're playing together. So, yeah, I want to know, do you guys think Brazil's the strongest? Do you think Turkey's the strongest? Because now I'm honestly confused. And where do these teams stack up? Because I want to know.
Well, that's the thing. That's what's so fantastic about a tournament like this is the fact that a whole lot of these teams, without any international exposure at all, and a whole lot of them as well with only very, very limited exposure. So you can't necessarily tell exactly how everyone's going to stack up on an international scale like this. And even heading through, when we do have our winners heading over to MSI, you don't know whether they might even be able to take that one. Who knows?
The sneaky MSI
I've got
coming
massive
up
like underdog syndrome, though. I'm like a massive fan of that.
Yeah, I certainly do as well. And seeing teams enter into the major tournaments like MSI, I think the IWCI tournament that we're running right now is a good way to send a team in there, because if it is someone like Hard Random or Detonation FocusMe, all of a sudden scouting becomes a real big deal, because there's a heck of a lot of footage out there of, say, maybe in TSM, because they play on a very popularized stage, but good luck digging up tapes of these guys.
Although we did manage to find them, so they are there, ladies and gentlemen. It's just hard to find them in English a lot of the time.
Yeah, it certainly is. But Hard Random, they come through. I like that you mentioned Kira. We talked about Lex and Domingo in the bottom lane as well. Let's hit on the junglers just before we get in there, because Symphony, he plays a lot of Rek'Sai, and this is a champion we've seen mixed success with coming through. Rek'Sai actually adapted to the Cinderhulk patch a lot better than the other aggressive junglers coming through there, because she has a knock-up. And something that you can never undervalue on a jungler is the ability to have a knock-up on non-ultimate. So it's going to be really interesting to see whether these junglers' champion pools affect the way it's played. Of course, we mentioned Symphony. He's a jungler for Hard Random. You see a couple of knockups coming through there with Zac as well as Rek'Sai, whereas Astatori, he prefers to go more of the snowball champions, the Lee Sin, the Jarvan, throw a literal snowball in there with Nunu. And that's kind of a very clashing jungle style.
Yeah, and he's got sort of a pocket Udyr in there as well that you can't actually see. Of course, Ince, you can see him there. Revolta, massive star player for the Brazilian team. And you saw Julius Tito and Spooks in our last game sharing a little bit of the champion pool. We haven't seen Spooks as a least, of course. Pretty unique there on that lineup. And Theocles and 007X coming through for our last two teams. This is going to be an exciting sort of jungle matchup across the board, but there's a lot of Sejuanis here.
Yeah, it certainly is. In 5.7, there's always going to be a lot of Sejuanis.
Yeah.
Gragas is the other massive one. It's the, I guess, curveball.
Because he's fat. Sorry.
Wow, weight sensitive, Atlas. Weight sensitive. But
the
other one that is interesting to me is like the fact that Zac is not shared here. Zac is something that's a little bit interesting. We see him, if you ban away Gragas and Sejuani, he's kind of the next tanky pick, as well as the fact that there are still Rek'Sais floating around. So I think they're the two big picks coming into this game. Will Zac or Rek'Sai be picked up? Or will there be something like an Udyr running around the rift from Detonation FocusMe?
Yeah, running around very, very fast. And of course, Nunu as well is a big power pick there in the jungle. Sort of a niche on his own, though.
Well, the reason that you bring Nunu up is because Detonation FocusMe, the Japanese team, we've mentioned that they play around
a lot of AD.
Their Yeah, around their AD carry. So the fact that they've got the Nunu pick up their sleeve that just got banned away, by the way, as we do jump into Champion Select. So Detonation FocusMe, I like that first one. Means that you can really get Yatapon built up and into the back line. And wow, there's a lot of bans focused at that bottom lane right now. Kalista also taken away. Nautilus for Detonation FocusMe.
In fact, every single ban seems to be revolving around that bottom lane here as well. Nautilus and Morgana, of course, wouldn't normally, I guess, well, Morgana most definitely has been. Oh, well, actually, that's true. But theoretically, bottom lane ban.
Not theoretical at all.
I
That
was
is
just
a
trying to make
ban
sure that
at
there was
Smurf
in
the top lane there. Of course, he is a Morgana player coming through for a hard random.
My little point really did not go through there at all.
More of the Janna Lulu coming through. No Morgana for him.
And Astaroth not going to be seeing his Gragas here at the same time as hard random are going to ban that one away. Sejuani in response. And Symphony has been the one prioritizing that. Astaroth not really worried about the Sejuani pick too much. Does still love the Jarvan, but Smurf just going to lock away that Rek'Sai straight away for Symphony.
Yeah, and Rek'Sai being picked up. We mentioned that this isn't a shared jungle pool, so prioritizing Rek'Sai, that blows my mind because Astaroth doesn't really go for something like that. As we said, more interested in the Nunu. I think that now that's been taken away, he'll go something like an Udyr or at least Sin on the current patch.
Do you think Jarvan still fits in the meta?
No, not at all.
Wow, okay. Not
really
even a little bit.
No, really don't think Jarvan's a good pick anymore. He lost a lot of his team-based focus. His ultimate doesn't really add much with Kalista running around on the map because she just jumps out of it. Even though it's banned away at the moment, you got things that just have too many gap closers, and I just don't think that the Wombo is there. I like the fact that they've gone for a Thresh, though, because that doesn't give anything away. You can run Pick, you can run Peel, it's engaged at certain points. So the fact that they've coupled that up with probably the best Peel tank in the top laner in Maokai is good. However, what it has meant for hard random is that Hecarim is still available. And Hecarim Kalista, Hecarim Rek'Sai, real scary.
Hecarim, Rek'Sai, and potentially a Lulu coming through here as hard random are hovering that one. We don't know whether that's necessarily going into the top, mid, or support here at this stage. But we will see. Demonko actually known to play that Lulu.
Yeah, exactly. So expect that to go into the bottom lane. I like the fact that they've got the Lulu once again away from Detonation FocusMe, because even though Zeros isn't known to play it, Lulu, as well as a good AD carry on the current patch, is real scary.
Yeah.
So being able to get that away from the middle laner from Detonation FocusMe means that they won't be able to get the AD carry position going as quickly. So far, we've got kind of two team comps that haven't given much away. Solo lanes haven't been picked up for hard random as of yet, as Jarvan is locked in.
Yeah.
And you called it. We know that Astaroth plays it, but I don't know whether it has a place on the current patch.
Well, we'll see whether it works out as we move into this one. It is looking like
you're going to be a real happy man if that Ezreal is locked in. Because Yatapon plays a very interesting Ezreal build.
Oh, I just cannot wait.
Yeah, it has an Essence Reaver in there. For those playing at home.
We could have let it be a surprise.
No surprises coming through here. So Essence
He's
Reaver.
got an ability called Essence Flux as well. Why hadn't anyone else decided to build that item?
Because it's not a fantastic item coming through there, Alice. Although it does.
Reduction,
yeah, it's got everything
regen.
Ezreal needs on a piece of paper. But then you look at the other BF items that give you a heck of a lot more, and it loses some of its attractiveness.
I don't know what you're talking about. Lex considering a Hecarim here for the top lane as Demonko hovering the Diana here, and we were talking about Kira's Diana earlier on. Does like to play those assassins there in the mid lane, but blind picking a Diana into Seros, is that smart?
Yeah, it's kind of strange coming through because Diana, she is a little bit risky being melee, but then again, she doesn't really have that many hard counters outside of maybe something like an Orianna that I actually haven't seen Seros play. So I don't mind the blind pick into it too much. We'll have to be careful with some of the lane matchups. However, that Hecarim is going to be really scary again. We mentioned how good Hecarim is at zoning out an AD carry solo. We saw it firsthand in the last game. The fact that it was able to go through third rounds of picks is mind-boggling for me.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous. And actually having a look over at the hard random lineup here, you've got Diana diving in with her big shield, which actually stacks up a little bit faster now. You've also got that wild growth on top of it, and the fact that you're not going to be kited as heavily because you have the On the Hunt. there's a lot of augmentation for this Diana to really get work done.
Yeah, there certainly is. So I like what you mentioned there, because realistically, Siva is a hit R and go bot again in this team comp. There are 3 huge divers and a Lulu on the lineup, which is going to mean nothing but good things for Hard Random. Like the comp they've put together, Diana surprisingly tanky in that mid lane as well, so fits the MO that we're going for here. On the other side of the rift, Syros has picked up Azir, and we were speaking about control mages really countering out Diana. In lane, going to be a good matchup coming through for Azir. However, out of lane, they're not really going to bump heads, because Diana, she wants to go to a split push thing, try and assassinate people from the flanks. Azir is all about that team fighting and setting up siege potential for his team.
Yeah.
You put a turret behind you, you put your wall in front of you, all of a sudden you got 15 sand soldiers, people are going crazy everywhere, and you take turrets ridiculously quickly. So they're going for 2 kind of different team comps here, and I want to see how it works out head to head. We mentioned the fact that CIS coming into this much more team orientated. They've set up kind of a 1-3-1 split push comp here.
Yeah.
On the other side of the map, you can see where the protect the AD carry focus is coming through. You got some peel and thresh. You got a Jarvan. You got Maokai for his ultimate coming through. You got Azir to push everyone away. A lot of pressure now on Syros and Beautipon to carry this game.
Yeah, and a lot of area control coming through here from FocusMe as well. They've got Ezreal, who's super safe, and then everyone who can really ruin these fights.
Yeah, there certainly is. So people that can shove you around, create walls. We've seen Azirs do crazy things with their ultimate, people getting bounced in and out of that thing. But the other thing I want to touch on quickly is in the top lane, Smurf didn't take Smite.
No, he's still got the Ignite.
He took Ignite, which is a little bit different. Means he doesn't have the clean item build. The reason I like Smite so much on Hecarim is it cleans his item build up a lot. No longer do you have to choose, am I going aggressive or defensive? Because you get a reasonably good laning item because of the aura that comes out of Cinderhulk.
Yeah.
You get some nice scaling for late game, but it's actually a ridiculously good duelist item. So it gives you kind of the offensive flair without having to commit to a Trinity Force, which is just so expensive. So he's gone instead for a little bit more laning power with the Ignite. Before you pick up the Skirmishing Saber, of course, Ignite's just so good. Yeah. Maybe that means they like to dive top lane and they're going to concentrate on getting bonds in behind, but it's just a little bit different on this patch.
Yeah, it is, and they're going in with a double teleport here at the same time, so Diana picking that one up in the mid lane as well. We are going to hop onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll see whether Hard Random are going to go for any exciting shenanigans early on with this double teleport as we are onto the Rift. Hard Random on the blue side. And, of course, Detonation FocusMe on the red heading down this one. And we're not going to have any level 1 face checks this time around, I do not think.
No, we're definitely not. We're just going to have everyone spreading out. Kira actually taking Q first. That's kind of, I guess, yeah. I don't know about taking Q against an Azir. The reason for it is because he does a heck of a lot of harass level 1. And generally, it's good to be able to walk up to the minion wave with your W on, get the 3 auto attacks off, use your passive to push it out, and then make the wave shove into him. So you get level 2 first.
Yep.
And then you can take the Q and start trying to harass. Instead, what that means is probably going to be zoned from level 1 is Kira if Syros plays this lane well. So we'll have to see exactly how that one works out. Take a look at Kazu in the bottom lane. He's just hanging out his Thresh, chilling. Real tanky at the moment.
Yeah, definitely tanky. Actually, I looked at his health bar and thought, okay, that could potentially be a Doran Shield. Looked down, not a Doran Shield, still just a Relic. So looks to me like Detonation FocusMe thinking about taking away the little Sentinels here from the blue buff, trying to get to an early level 2.
Yeah, so that's what they'll do. They'll take away at least one blue Sentinel there and be able to get some of their work done. As we see Syros as well as Bonzen, they prepped the Wraith camp there. They're able to get all of the CS across onto the mid laner, I believe.
Probably not all of them. The big Raptor may not be taken down. There's actually Lex and Demonco going to be taking down the Krug. So we'll see whether they just take a little one. No, they're going for both. So heading to lane a little bit less healthy, but definitely going to be able to grab that level 2 early, considering the fact that they are going to be sharing that experience, not giving instant level 2 over to either one of them. As Smurf almost actually dying to those Raptors, but is going to be able to head back to base, maybe grab a few more potions and then teleport up to that lane as Bonzen's shoving that one in. Of course, Detonation FocusMe are going to know exactly what happened here from Hard Random, seeing the fact that they lost a whole bunch of their health. But as far as laning phase goes, we are going to have 2v2s and 1v1s. And how does Sivalulu do against Thresh Ezreal?
Yeah, so Civilulu is a little bit of a weird lane. They shove out really well level 1 because they have the Glitter Lance as well as the auto attack reset coming through from Civa's W. However, not going to lane straight away means that they lose some of that advantage, and Ezreal can also just sit there and queue minions, and he pushes the wave relatively well as well. So we'll have to see how it works out. However, Ezreal versus Civa's always been a really good matchup for Civa because you tank the first queue, you get some of your mana back, and then all of a sudden you just unload with a really good burst combo coming through. As you saw, level 1, Kira got absolutely smashed by Zeros. It was because he took the Q. Once again, mentioned that pre-game. Got punished for it. He's lost both of his potions. He's down 7 CS and is completely zoned.
Yeah, and what do you think about the fact that he hasn't taken a flask here as well as Manasseh watching the international? Oh my goodness. Are they your hands? That's gloves on his feet. Oh my goodness. He's trolling me as Astro actually heading towards that bottom side. Demonco getting ignited up here as well as Detonation FocusMe losing a bunch of health in this bottom side. Lex staying healthy, but there's Symphony flashing forward with the knockup, but he might actually die for it as Unipon goes so aggressive. First blood for Astro as he goes down very low. Demonco picks up the double buffs, but Unipon, he's got him now as Lex. He's trying to fight back. Kazoo, my goodness, is he low. But Ezreal locks down the double buffs, hits level 3, 1-0-1, and man, for a team that plays around their 80 carry, it's a pretty good start.
Yeah, it certainly is. Kazu came up huge in that trade. Actually took a lot of the brunt of the damage as Kira going down very low in the mid lane. Able to equalize CS, but needs to go back and get a quick shot. And as you mentioned, Detonation FocusMe, they love playing around Unipon in the bottom lane. Kazu is that support that they like to use for peel. All of a sudden, double buff Ezreal going to have no problem with this lane. Picks up an early kill, picks up the early advantage in CS, and all of a sudden, Ez looking real pretty.
He's looking real strong there on the bottom side of the map. Bonzen actually falling behind Smurf as well, which is a little bit frightening considering Hecarim's scaling potential. Astro actually thinking of going aggressive under Kira here. He uses that Pale Cascade in order to trade a little bit more effectively, but Symphony coming around here now. It is going to be 2v2 here, but nice knock-up. Gonna stop that one, but Symphony, he's paying for it. Saros is gonna take him down. He's very, very low. Flashes over the top as Kira's gonna flash to follow. Picks up the kill as Demonco comes around as well. Nice whimsy for a shield, but Flag and Drag's gonna get Astor out of trouble. Smurf was even coming down. Man, there are parties in these lanes.
Yeah, so Smurf was able to push out and then roam down. He's got a lot of potions, so he's just been recklessly shoving into Bonzen in the top lane. The roam coming through from Demonco probably sealed the early aggressive coming through there. So once again, a 1-for-1 trade. This time, mid laner fell, however, so you would say in the favor of the CIS team. Hard Random getting the better of that one. But the action early game, what an explosive game as a hook just misses wide there. They're not really looking to trade with this Ezreal anymore. Kazu trying to zone though.
Udapon just preying upon this bottom lane, and he's not going to get punished for the early tier pickup as well. Has picked up an extra Doran's Blade at the same time, so going for early power plus a tier. A little bit strange.
Yeah, it certainly is a little bit strange coming through there, but the early tier means it's going to be stacking very quickly. Not to mention the fact that he gets some sustain through the Doran's Blade, so maybe just looking to cover up for a power spike. Dorans are actually the most cost-effective items to build in the game. They're just not slot effective because they don't turn into anything. As we see Symphony sneaking in on Bonzen.
Yeah, there's the ultimate to come through here from Smurf as well, who gets ignited up. Chilling Smite to come down. Cute little twisted advance into the flash is going to mean that Bonzen is going to survive.
Yeah, but he uses a flash, and that's going to be a return gank coming through whenever you want. As Kira, he's now hit level 6, and you see the zone potential already coming through from the Diana player. The one thing that we didn't mention to do with the double teleport whilst we mentioned it is the fact that Zeros has an exhaust, which means that if he gets it through before the first ultimate hits, he negates a heck of a lot of damage coming through a burst assassin like Kira. So I like the pickup there. It means a 2v2 skirmish all of a sudden coming through from the Jarvan Azir. Really effective against something like the Diana Rek'Sai.
Yeah, and Symphony so far has been super aggressive this game. Of course, went for that gank in the top lane, but has been almost suiciding into the lanes before that. Astaroth does notice the fact that that blue buff has gone down yet again. Of course, on the clock here for Symphony as he's able to head around that map very, very quickly. Of course, doesn't quite have Void Rush just yet, but he's going to have it soon. Ooh, Symphony almost there in Smite range. Does try to Prey Seek it out, but doesn't get there. As Detonation FocusMe with a slight advantage early on to almost the tune of 1,000 gold, but nothing too much to write home about. But Smurf, he's actually behind in levels, although Bonzen actually had to go back.
Yeah, he had the bigger creep wave there, so he was able to equal that one out. He's picked up the cannon creep as well at the end. Bonzen had already killed his cannon creep. Cannon creep's OP, give you lots of experience and gold. Never miss those one, guys. As now the blue buff's picked up for Kira in the top lane, in the mid lane, so he's going to be able to go back, spam out some more Qs, kill some more minions, and this is what we're expecting out of these two teams. Some early aggression, but really strong laning phases coming through. I don't expect the laning phase to end anytime soon.
Wow, that Crescent Strike just missing onto Seros there. He's going to go back yet again, though, because Kira just feels like it. Not entirely sure. Actually, just faking that one out. He's going to head back into this mid lane, clear out that last wave. Actually going to equalize the CS as Seros is going to head over and pick up the blue buff, handed over there by Astro. Quite timely. Demonko and Lex finding their way back into this lane. Yutapon still with a slight advantage, but of course, not exactly pressuring that lead that he could have possibly gained a little bit more out of based on the double buffs.
But the thing about Ezreal lanes is that they just shouldn't win in the AD carry position. So if you're up in CS, you're doing a really good job. And he hits a nicer spike coming through there with the Muramana than what Lex will. So the ability to be able to shove around the Sivir early is definitely in Yutapon's advantage. So whilst he's not killing his lane opponent, the fact that he's anywhere remotely in control of the lane, he's forced Sivir into double Doran's a longsword as well. So you can probably expect another Brutalizer to come out. Seems to be flavor of the month, and I missed the memo somewhere. But yeah, it's definitely in the advantage of the Detonation FocusMe bottom lane.
Yeah, we've seen a decent amount of sort of Infinity Edge and Ghostblade Sivers to come through as well, so we'll see whether that is going to be a thing. As Symphony looking for another gank here in the mid lane. Not going to find any joy, though, as Seros able to play back quite fast. Now with a 16 CS lead, Fiendish Codex sitting on and double Doran's ring, so wanting to really put the pressure down early on here. Another Crescent Strike not quite going to find the mark as Kira hanging out there. Astro is going to look for the top side of the map, but not find anything either. So a lot of explosive action very early on in this game, but it's slowed down just slightly now. And we'll see whether there's going to be any sort of dragon action as there's a teleport in the mid lane, and I spoke too soon. Beautiful Emperor's Divide. May not quite get Seros to safety as he ignites, sticking down last stick, doesn't find it. Beautifully played by Seros in the mid.
Yeah, so he's able to get away, uses all of his summoner spells, but that might mean the first objective goes down. All of a sudden, hard random, they have to take a look at Dragon. It's about that 10-minute mark. They've forced the mid laner back. Actually, they don't go for it, so instead, just continuing the laning phase out here. They're not able to pick up a kill, so they're just going to continue to roam around the map, see if Symphony can get anything done in the bottom lane.
Yeah, not quite able to capitalize too much on that as another ult comes through here from Smurf, looking for the 1v1 as Bonzen does put down the Vengeful Maelstrom, but he's getting rampaged on. Smurf running out of mana here just a little bit, but Bonzen, again, just going to be fine there on the top side.
Yeah, and I think that the Maokai at this point a little bit too hard to 1v1 out, so that's a confusing use of the ultimate. Didn't use it in the initial gank. In the end, doesn't get anything in the top lane either. Bonzen, he's got the Catalyst of the Protector already. He's got his passive, just going to be able to heal up on the next creep wave. He'll be completely fine. Even has the teleport advantage. So not much going to happen in the top lane. That was a little bit hopeful. Blindly optimistic, probably the word I would use, or a couple of words. In that, and really a huge lull around the map. We've seen spurts of aggression, as you mentioned. Now we're seeing some pushing coming through, but everyone looks like they just want to...
Oh, Symphony looking for it as well. Seros really the focus here as there's the Moonfall, the knock-up from the Umburrow as well, and lock down the kill, of course. Emperor's Divide almost off cooldown, but not quite there.
That was a huge commit coming through there onto the mid lane, and they're able to pull it off for the fact that he used all of his summoner spells last time to get away. They knew the ultimate wasn't available early, just came back off cooldown, so they're able to go for the repeat gank, expend a lot to get there, but in the end, definitely worthwhile because they're going to pick up the first dragon.
Yeah, grabbing the first dragon, of course, hard random, only behind by about 6. Oh my goodness! Almost the True Shot Barrage steal. It was down below a quarter health, Spawn. It was an exciting moment. Don't take this away.
As we see, just even more farming coming through in the mid lane, and Yutapon, he went for it. He wasn't able to nail it. A little bit of dueling potential now gone from the bottom lane, and we're starting to see Lex and Demonko push out this lane. This is what Sivir likes to do. She finally went for the BF sword, able to get that one, so it was delayed a little bit, but now they're in firm control, at least wave control-wise. because no ultimate coming through from Ezreal means that there is 0 pushback.
Yeah, and I guess Lex probably on the first back there, of course, after that trade went sort of horribly wrong, wanted to make sure that they had as many combat stats as they possibly could. You can use that longsword later, of course, for a whole lot of different things, so having it sit around there in your inventory, not too much of a big deal. So I actually quite like it now thinking back.
Yeah, so the thing about AD carry at the moment, as there's another game.
Oh my goodness, beautiful death sentence into the delivery system as Demonko's going to fall down, flag and drag onto Lex, but on the hunt is going to allow him to stay safe. But man, Detonation FocusMe with a beautifully orchestrated gank.
Yeah, so Astaroth able to get in there, uses the ultimate after the flash to make sure it locks down the support player in Demonko. He falls off the rift, and once again, another kill over to Utapon. So they're starting to get their AD carry fed and really going. He's working on the Muramana transformation as we speak. So yeah, really can't fault what the Detonation FocusMe jungler just was able to do.
Yeah, and Lex a little bit slow on the fingers there with the spell shield as Utapon trying to get some extra damage down. Actually goes for an aggressive arcane shift. Interestingly done, but not going to net him anything.
Blue buff being handed over to the mid laner. I wonder if they go in on Syros again. They know that his flash isn't up for about another, I'm going to say about 30 seconds now. So if they can get another gank in after they pick up red buff, they might be able to take him down one more time. Although Exhaust is available as well as Ultimate. And you feel Diana will deal handedly with Ezreal late game. So currently, probably advantage hard random, even though the gold says advantage Detonation FocusMe. And I want to see how this one works out.
Yeah, Utapon actually looking for a Mystic Shot over the wall there as Demonko heads back into this lane.
Actually gives away the position of the ward there, so not worth it. They were actually setting up for a Rek'Sai gank. Symphony was in there, so the fact that he was willing to Q past the wall means that he's not wasting any of the Rek'Sai's time. So a little bit of they're tiny things, but things like that mean that maybe Symphony sticks around for an extra 10 seconds looking for that gank. And then they can make a play elsewhere.
Speaking of which, actually now looking for Utapon now. Beautiful fake out on the maneuver, but man, that boomerang almost finishing him off. Another Moonfall to come through here as the Emperor's Divide only gets rid of the Diana. As Saros, man, that was lovely use of the E. Survives another one.
Yeah, but has to use Flash on cooldown again, Atlas, and all of a sudden, if Astaroth wasn't there, that would have been a kill because the Flash was still available, Ultimate was still available, coming through from Kira. Would have been able to get in there and affect another gank, and they're starting to pick on Saros. He's staying extremely even in CS, so props to him for really being able to stick in this lane, even though he's starting to get focused pretty heavily. But not much coming through from Kira so far.
Yeah, hard random actually reading the MO there as that is going to be the Crescent Strike not going to land. Of course, Detonation FocusMe. I mean, they're going to focus someone, at least, although it doesn't necessarily work for everyone.
No, so in the end, they're going to be able to make that one work out. And in the top lane, Smurfy's still doing reasonably well, farming up extremely well, actually, on Hecarim. Maokai wins that lane quite handily as they're going aggressive in the bottom lane. Wow.
Yeah, box used, but Lex not going to take any damage from it. Just wanders out of the way casually.
Yeah, so in the end, not really much advantage there. Wow.
Oh, yeah, teleport to come through from Smurf here. He's looking for something. Now feels like he's in the wrong place as Bonzing going to teleport in as well. And again, another stalemate, but another teleport. Let's get as many teleports down here as we possibly can as there's the Crescent, but beautiful use of a flash onto the Dark Passage. Not quite enough as Kira's going to get speed boosted. They do manage to get one pick. Dragon not up for another minute and a half. But hard random, they use so many summoner spells.
Yeah, they certainly did, and we were kind of warned about there's nothing up to fight over, but for some reason they just pick to start up the little bit of a brawl. Smurf, as well as Kira, able to get into that bottom lane, so they win out in the end. Now they're chasing over the whole map to try and catch Kazu, who has Moby Boots. So he's not in much trouble, able to just wander away.
Yeah, a little bit of cute stuff coming through there for these guys as Lex down the bottom side of the map is going to use all of his mana to farm this one out. Utapon now is easily going to continue stacking up this Manamune. As just checking it out. Nice little smile there coming through. Lots of people with
glorious
so
beard.
many monitors, man. It's beautiful. Beautiful to see this many monitors.
I couldn't see past the beard, I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I think there was a monitor there. And I just have to ignore the beards because I just can't grow one to save my life.
As we see, actually, a rod of ages Maokai coming through in the top lane for Bonzin. So committing a little bit further into the late game build. We sort of saw that fall away in popularity as Righteous Glory became the standard pickup. But with laning phases going for as long as it is in this game, can't really blame Bonzin. He's going to have that stacked up and going to be more of a late game damage threat than we expected out of the top lane.
Yeah, already has that Glacial Shroud completed as well, so obviously going towards that Frozen Heart as his next option. Symphony looking for something else here in the mid lane as he is spotted by a ward. Pale Cascade going to give Kira a bit of a shield for not really too much gain. Symphony now going to start up the Dragon straight away, and Hard Random looking to try and make this 2 for nothing.
Yeah, but in the top lane, Detonation FocusMe, they've gone towards the turret, so they're looking to just push another lane, give away the Dragon, try and go for another snipe, but once again, not really that successful. So Udapon is 0 for 2.
Yep, and I didn't get quite as excited for that one, of course. Not quite through to the quarter mark as Kira now going to put a whole lot of pressure here on the turret. That passive just doing so much work.
Yeah, Siros, he was looking to be dove again. The pressure in the mid lane has just been out of control coming out of Hard Random, and they've picked up the second Dragon. They're 800 gold behind, but that's about the turret worth in the top lane. Is now Kazu looking for an engage.
Yeah, Descents. Oh, wow. That was actually onto Smurf there. A bit of a fake-out play to come through from Kazu. Doesn't pay off.
Faked out everyone, kind of threw the field goal in between
Maybe
both of them.
himself more than anyone else. Symphony now looking for something over the wall here. Preyseeker not going to find the blue buff as Udapon had started that one up but decides to give up on it. Now heading towards his bottom side and is just going to farm out this wave, maybe push up towards that turret. Kira now with a sneaky lead. Of course, with so much focus from Hard Random there in the mid lane, you would expect this, but now has a needlessly large rod as well as those boots too and the Abyssal Scepter.
Yeah, I like that you call it sneaky because that was kind of like a smack you in the face lead. They just sat every resource on the map in mid lane and let him accrue a CS advantage. So I'm not sure if I call that stealth, kind of the Shen approach to being a ninja coming through there from Hard Random, but they definitely did get their mid laner in a real good position.
Yeah, they got there. 13 CS in the lead, 3-0-0, definitely looking very good. But we were mentioning before, and it was difficult in the beginning of the laning phase for this Diana.
Oh, it was
play.
so difficult. Gave up advantage level 1 by taking the Q and just walking into lane with the Doran's Ring, not going for a flask or anything to give any kind of advantage over to the Diana player. We said the control mages would be fine early game. Now that the wow.
Oh my goodness, Kira actually taken down there by Siros. 1v1 Emperor's Divide doing a whole lot of work, and Azir, we know that he scales beautifully into the late game, and Siros is definitely demonstrating it.
Yeah, well, we were mentioning, we were doing an exercise before the cast, as Siros, now being a little bit dove from Smurf, decides against it, of what gets through Emperor's Divide.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Diana doesn't. She headbutts it. So once you get the first one, if you can't 100% the Azir on the first full combination, you can't re-dive through with the ultimate, which puts you in a very awkward situation because if you don't have flash available, which Kira didn't, you have to walk around the wall or get out. And it's very hard to move away from an Azir as well with the slows coming through, with the fact that you get bounced around a little bit. So in the end, lost the straight up 1v1 because 100-to-1 potential wasn't there. Now gone for the distortion enchant, not only for the teleport, but for more chances to flash through that wall and kill Azir.
Yeah, we'll see whether it is going to work out. Detonation FocusMe. A whole lot of vision around here. Matthew Crosby just showing his flair with the Teemo hat. This is how he's going to watch IWCI. Actually on the feet. On the feet. Couldn't see it too well, but man, there are so many feet in these shots.
Yeah, there certainly is. The feet coming through with a passion.
Quick shot just starting things up here.
All of a sudden, Kira roaming up, trying to take out Bonzin.
Yeah, Bonzin looking to be taken down here as there's the Crescent Slash, and man, Kira doing some damage.
Yeah, and Smurf picked up the Trinity Force all of a sudden. He's doing relevant damage as well. Trinity Force is the rush coming through here for the Ignite Hecarim, as now all 4 members remaining for Detonation FocusMe, they move into the mid lane, and Kira's been caught.
Yeah, there's the Death Sentence coming through as well. Emperor's Divide underneath the Sun Turret, beautifully timed as Symphony's going to flash out of the Cataclysm. Lex looking for something. Smurf with a beautiful teleport through the backside, but he is not very tanky at this stage, as man, that was a big ride Seros went on. Udapon is going to fall as Kira's back in the fight, and look at the snowballing coming through from this Diana. Seros is there with a beautiful use of the Zhonya's, but not that beautiful as Kira's just going to take him down for the triple.
Yeah, so what Hard Random didn't notice was the fact that they were like, hey, that's our turret. But all of a sudden, Azir puts a turret up, and that was effectively a turret dive that got them a triple kill coming out for only one member. That Diana, all of a sudden, went from being really not much of a problem to a huge problem that we have to think about as we go in. We take another look at it. Actually bounced them under the turret, but to relative safety. So a little bit of a misplay coming through from Siroth. Good flank came through from Smurf, but from here it looked like it was going to go all in Detonation FocusMe favor. But Udapon, he got deleted. All of a sudden, Kazu's by himself. They're able to get back over the wall and take out Siros as well here. And the kill goes over to Kira as well. So to make it matter even worse, not only did they lose a fight, they lost a fight and gave all the gold to the split pusher.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, an assassin can take out Udapon, who is the star carry coming through for Detonation FocusMe. So the Japanese team has actually been its own worst enemy. They've given the... wow.
Oh, Bonzen. Beautiful use of that twisted advance to get out of the way of that Crescent Strike as Kira is going to moonfall him back in. There's the Lunar Rush. Doesn't get the reset, though. Well, actually did, as she's going to fall down.
Yeah, so they take out Bonzen again. And this is what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, the playmaker, as Demonko a little bit caught, is super fed coming through. 8-1-0, 208 CS at only 24 minutes. They're losing turrets for it. But this is eventually going to set the CIS team up for huge success.
Well, Kira actually heading through for a flank teleport as well. Pale Cascade healing him up, and man, is he trying to get over there as Lex gets it with a beautiful use of the ricochet.
Thank you,
having a
Kira.
giggle.
I love when players just show exactly what I was talking about. So Kira tried twice unsuccessfully to dive through the wall.
Yep.
Got bounced twice. So as
I
we
was doing
said,
my best to ignore it.
if it's not a blink, you can't get through.
Well, it is going to mean third dragon here for Hard Random. Detonation FocusMe forced to head back. Oh, another one! No, a little bit late this time. He'll get it next time, surely. Udapon now knows exactly which way to go.
Yeah, he's just warming up, getting his eye in. It's only game one for Detonation FocusMe, but Hard Random, they're in a huge position to be able to take over this game now. They haven't taken any turrets apart from the bottom. And if they set Diana up in a lane, she's going to be able to really... Wow. Oh, I thought that was an enemy. Wasn't.
Well,
it was
it is. It's an enemy blue buff.
It was a pink ward. Tricked me. But going to be able to move the Diana into free lanes and be able to pick up a lot of farm, but more importantly, some turrets with that passive.
Yeah, precisely. He's going to be able to grab a Rift Scuttler as well, which is also very important.
Give it to you, jungler.
Only one turret down, though, for Hard Random. Detonation FocusMe have managed to take down 3 on this map. A bit of global gold now available for them, keeping them in this gold game, of course.
That's a little bit caught.
Yeah, Devastating Charge is going to allow him to gallop gloriously away from that one. No problem at all.
Second best Tech Room skin in the game.
What, the normal one?
That's not the normal.
Isn't it? Or is that Reaper?
It's Reaper.
Ah, got it. Kira heading into this mid lane is just going to try and clear out these creeps. Of course, does have to get into melee range, and it is difficult against 4 members of FocusMe who are hanging around. Symphony, I don't know how you managed to pick that gap. That was beautiful. Prey Seeker finding everywhere that there isn't prey somehow. Astral heading through here as well as Lex is going to throw through a boomerang and is going to be able to pick up the farm. So a little bit of a calmed down moment.
Yeah, all they're waiting for is level 16 on their mid laner. So Kira, he's got all the gold, he's got all the kills, he's level 15. And it's a real awkward spot for every mid laner to be on level 15 because you know your power gets huge when you hit level 16. You really want the 3 points in that ultimate. And anytime you fight at level 15, you tend to lose. And then you're like, if I had a little bit of base damage on that ultimate, I probably would have won. But once again, top lane getting a lot of focus, Bonzen under attack. But they've moved all their members bot. The problem, 26 minutes into the game, Baron's been started up.
Yeah, there's 3 members in this bottom lane. As a sapling is going to spot out exactly what's going on. Bonzen is here, has teleport, but he's right next to the Baron pit. Not needed as Seros is there, but there's on the hunt pop. Seros uses that Sonya's Hourglass Emperor's Divide to get Demonko and Kira out of here, but Seros is just getting exploded. Cataclysm to come through. Kira's shield is gigantic as Udapon finally manages to find his way in, but Smurf able to fear him up. Bonzen going down so incredibly low. And Hard Random all grouped up. Kira's godlike. They're going to take down the mid turret. They've already got the Baron because they had so much damage. And man, this team is looking so strong.
Yeah, it certainly is. And we talk about things that give AD carries headaches, and we put Hecarim on the top of the list. Scrap that one. 10-1 and 2 Diana. She takes the crown.
Oh,
there
yeah.
is no way Udapon can go anywhere near a team fight right now because Kira, even without hitting a Q, will probably one-shot the poor dude. He's sitting on a Cutlass, has next to no lifesteal, no attack speed coming through yet, has prioritized armor, doesn't even have magic resistance. He needs a Banshee's Veil yesterday if he's going to survive the damage.
And he needs about 4 charges on his flash and a far less cooldown on that Arcane Shift because Kira is just bouncing around these fights, resetting that Lunar Rush
and
left,
now
right,
has
and
a
center.
death cap. Wow, this Diana is all of a sudden massive. Let's take another look at it. Dumped over the wall before this and tried to get rid of Syros. They take down the Baron. Good objective control over the team fight. And then look at how Smurf just attacks the backline. All of a sudden, Udapon, he's not a threat at all. He's over the wall just throwing out random Qs. And they chase through the rest of the team. They pick up the double turrets, don't go chasing kills. And the focus through from Hard Random right now is really superior to what we're seeing from Detonation FocusMe. The Japanese team seems to be out of sorts, not prioritizing the right part of the objectives. And with the 4-1 split push, 10-1 Diana, all of a sudden, that ultimate not going to be very helpful because she'll just one-shot you, Syros.
My goodness. And what with all of these Cinderhulks coming through for Hecarims as well, we're just not used to seeing this burst of damage coming through at this stage of the game with the Trinity Force Hecarim. Not to mention the fact that he now almost has the Spirit Visage and the Frozen Heart completed as well. It's just crazy seeing this coming through from Smurf as Kira continues the split push on the bottom side. Syros completely tied up trying to deal with that as Smurf is even going to clear out the
Probably
mid lane.
going to go for the dive on the bottom lane. Smurf going around behind Syros. This is big trouble.
Yeah, divide this one as he takes out Kira but gets destroyed by the horse.
Yeah, so able to get in behind. All of a sudden, top lane teleport.
Yeah, speaking of getting in from behind, Astro trying to get through here as, my God, Udapon just gets eliminated there by Kira Bonzen. Now in so much trouble. He's supposed to be the tank. Doesn't look tanky at this stage as he gets destroyed by Kira as well. 12-1 and 4. That's the ace. Hard Random going to take down the first inhibitor of this game as well. 12,000 gold is the lead. And this CIS team, they're probably going to win off that.
Yeah, they certainly are looking to push in the base. Atlas, I was confused why they were prioritizing mid lane so high. Syros seems to be dealing with it. Now you see how Kira was able to take over the rest of the game with an advantage.
Oh, yeah.
What a composition coming through from Hard Random. They sacrificed top, they sacrificed bottom a little bit, turned them into farm lanes, but then absolutely destroyed the map through a mid lane tactic.
Yeah, it was really beautifully played, and they were timing the flashes so wonderfully as well. They made sure that they came back at the very last second of that flash cooldown to kill Syros, and that was a 3-0-0 Diana in a lane that he was getting bullied in.
Yeah, exactly right. And, you know, Azir should win that lane, so throwing the attention there means that all of a sudden you can't push, you can't zone, you have to play a little bit more carefully. Azir known for being incredibly squishy, and it was just that one team fight around mid lane. They got Diana to a point that she was okay, she was still manageable, but the one with the Sun Turret where they pushed the team out, they actually chose to fight when Bonzen had died top lane, if you remember, so it looked like a 4v4, but really there was a 5th member that could join for Hard Random, and in the end, off the back of that, they just wiped the floor with Detonation FocusMe.
Yeah, and when you've got a Diana on, you know, what was it, 7-1 after that point? You said that things were going to go horribly wrong. I didn't quite understand the extent of which you were correct, but man, he just went completely ballistic.
And this is the thing, like, Detonation FocusMe, you saw their tactic. They were hoping to get the blue Ezreal to a point late game where just a kite monster wasn't able to be one-shot and could just throw out all the Qs, kite back consistently. And they had a very good team comp for it. But with the pace that Diana was accelerated, outside of the fact that there was a Hecarim who's a very good anti-carry, the fact that Diana just got so huge meant that in the end, Udapon could be one-shot.
Yeah, well, it was sort of 1 or 2, but the fact that you're Diana as well means that Lunar Rush keeps getting reset by that Crescent Slash, and you just constantly get dove on over and over again. Not to mention the Moonfall coming through, Pale Cascade making you so sort of pseudo-tanky at the same time. You can really get in amongst this one, and what with Wild Growth on top of it, man, and Symphony as well. I mean, he went a little bit unspoken there, made some super aggressive plays, which in the early game may have looked over-aggressive, but worked out exactly to be how Hard Random wanted it to work.
Yeah, and the thing is that Symphony was matched well early by Astaroth.
Yeah.
But then he kept up the aggressive plays, whereas Astaroth kind of retreated into the jungle. So whilst Astaroth was happy to camp bottom lane, and I think that Symphony recognized that, that's why he was going mid more often, going top more often, recognized that the camp was around bottom lane. And if he ganked there, they were going to get counter-ganked. In the end, he just took the pressure elsewhere. And Unipon, he was happy to farm, but the rest of the map just got crushed.
Yeah, and is this sort of the result of having a team that has a sort of very one-dimensional playstyle? This, okay, we're going to get behind our AD carry and play it out that way, and then Hard Random we're like, okay, well, that's how you're going to play. We're going to focus the rest of the map, and we're going to play this game our way because we're a little bit more flexible. Could that have been a strategy going through?
I think it was just recognized, the fact that that's how they wanted to play for that particular map. I think Detonation FocusMe can mix it up a lot more than people are going to give them credit for off the back of that one performance. They definitely do concentrate around the AD carry, but their mid laner, Syros, is much better than what he showed in that match. I think that...
Well, actually, he showed a whole lot of really fantastic Azir mechanics.
He showed really good early and then just got too far behind. So I think that it was a very... Like, you don't expect for 10 kills to be on a map and 8-1-1 to be the Diana score. That's a really accelerated Diana to the point that you can't deal with it anymore.
No, and we actually saw that demonstrated. And speaking of which, let's go to a replay and see exactly how fed Kira was.
Yeah, exactly right. So this is a Baron fight where, in the end, Detonation were caught way out of position. So FocusMe is heading up the map. The CIS team, Hard Random, they've already started up the Baron. And when we roll this out, you're going to see Syros take a heck of a lot of damage and have to pop Zhonya's. And this is huge, because all of a sudden, he's trapped between a rock and a hard place and can't retreat anywhere. But what really turned the fight is this moment here. Smurf dives onto the backline, and all of a sudden, Unipon is over a wall firing Qs when really he should be in mid lane, hiding backwards with the rest of the team. He chose to go over a wall instead of going directly backwards, probably saved his life, but needed to make the higher risk play, kite back and try and deal with the Hecarim, because in the end, he just let two members of his team be collapsed on, and it was legitimately a meat grinder.
Yeah,
they just absolutely ground the rest of his team to a pulp, and then just ignored him. Ezreal's not going to do anything if it's one versus five.
He wasn't going to come through the back.
He was going back. He wasn't going to fight anyone. He couldn't even pick up the minion wave, really. And they just tanked two turrets outright. Had Baron, took the two mid turrets, and was huge.
Yeah, absolutely gigantic. I think they got about an 8,000 gold lead off that stage. It was the game-winning play that came through, and it was all about a incredibly quick call to start off the Baron. They recognized two people bottom lane and instantly went to the pit. Yeah. And that's fantastic communication straight off the bat.
Yeah, and I like that you pointed that out, because everything in this team from Hard Random pointed to the fact that they're a smart team and that they make good calls. Their mid lane camp, the Baron at the right time, the fact that they were willing to sack other parts of the map, they played that very intelligently.
Yeah, it was beautifully done. But ladies and gentlemen, there's still way more IWCI coming tonight. We are going to have a short break, but we'll be back very, very soon.